Well, hello and welcome to the first of my career videos. Okay, so before I get to the career video of the Who's Here Bearcat Jack Dillon, I wish to respond to a comment that I received on numbers 10 to 1 on my Top 1000 Countdown. The comment said, did you know if you go back through newspaper archives between 1910 to 1913, they often quote Sam Langford, that's the key word, quote, Sam Langford as being the world light heavyweight champion. I thought if anyone should know that, it should be you, as if it has any weight, it only boosts his greatness. You thought if anyone should know that, it should be me. Well, what I do know is that has no validity whatsoever. The reason why I didn't mention Langford being the light heavyweight champion during that time or any other time is simply because he was never the light heavyweight champion. Okay, so really what newspaper writers say or do is up to them. I mean, a newspaper writer now could say Moses Itaúma's the heavyweight champion, but he's not the heavyweight champion. Okay, at the end of the day, the light heavyweight line had a break, okay, when Jack O'Brien captured title 1905 or were recognised as champion in 1905 after beating Fitzsimmons. O'Brien vacated the belt. Okay, and there was not a re-established lineal line, which perfectly ties into this video, until this very fighter, Jack Dillon, in 1914 re-established the lineal line. Okay, so when Langford beat Jack O'Brien in 1911, okay, in a heavyweight fight, okay, the light heavyweight title was not on the line and an established lineal champion had not been put in place. Okay, it's a bit like after Stanley Ketchel was tragically killed. You know, many fighters were professed by media to be the world middleweight champion or the claim on the world middleweight title. But it doesn't add anything to Langford's greatness because he never captured the light heavyweight title. So therefore, I never mentioned it. You know, I mentioned the coloured titles he won because he actually won those and was the holding title holder for those. I mentioned he challenged Barbados Walcott for the world welterweight title because he actually did challenge for the world welterweight title. But the light heavyweight question with Langford is, no, it's irrelevant. That's why I didn't mention it. He was never light heavyweight champion. He was never coloured light heavyweight champion or world light heavyweight champion. All Langford did, okay, was beat the last established light heavyweight champion Jack O'Brien in 1911 at heavyweight, and therefore some writers may have said, well, he beat the light heavyweight champion. Because in that, you have to understand, in that day, if Jack O'Brien vacated that belt and did not lose it in the ring, many people would still call him the light heavyweight champion. You know, it was like Muhammad Ali when he was stripped of his belts in 1967. A lot of people still called Muhammad Ali the heavyweight champion when in reality he wasn't. The belts had been stripped. So, you know, people can call him Muhammad Ali the world heavyweight champion still, but technically he's not. And it's the same with Jack O'Brien. He was not the light heavyweight champion. The belt was vacated. Jack O'Brien went to heavyweight seeking big money fights. He later, much later, 6 years later nearly, lost to Sam Langford. So ultimately Langford has no claim on the light heavyweight. He has no valid claim on the light heavyweight title. All he did is beat the last existing undisputed light heavyweight champion nearly 6 years after he vacated the belt. So yeah, there's nothing to mention there. That's why I didn't mention it. So anyway, back on to light heavyweight theme for this video. Jack Dillon, because he was the fighter in 1914 who became light heavyweight champion and held it to 1916. So with Jack Dillon, okay, one of the great fighters of his time and one of the great light heavyweights of all time, let us jump onto his main career opponent breakdown. So slide 1 has a lot of fights on it, okay. Jack Dillon doesn't have as many slides of opponents as some other all-time greats. Part of that reason is he fought a lot of fight series against many of the biggest names of his time. Starting out with former lineal middleweight champion George Chipp. Held the lineal middleweight title just prior around the time Jack Dillon became light heavyweight champion. So Dillon fought George Chipp on 12 occasions, okay, scoring 10 wins with 1 loss and 1 draw. He also fought former champion Mike Glover to a draw in a singular fight, and then he also held a win over former welterweight middleweight champion Mike Twin Sullivan. Now, next up was Bob Mohar. Okay, Jack Dillon fought Bob Mohar on 5 occasions, scoring 4 wins with no losses and 1 draw. And he had a 10-fight series. Ultimately, one of his main rivals was the fighter who would then replace him as lineal light heavyweight champion in 1916, battling Levinsky. Now, Dillon fought Levinsky on 10 occasions, scoring 6 wins with 2 losses and 2 draws. He also fought the tough, hard-punching and strong former middleweight champion Frank Klaus on 4 occasions, scoring 1 win with 2 losses and 1 draw. And he also fought and defeated former lineal middleweight champion Al McCoy 2 times from 3 fights, with a draw in there as well. Now, one fighter Jack Dillon couldn't beat was the great Pittsburgher Harry Greb himself. Dillon lost the first fight and was so shocked he got beaten so easily he trained even harder for the second fight and got beaten even easier. Okay, Harry Greb won both fights. Next up is Leo Florian Hook. Okay, Jack Dillon fought him on 3 occasions, scoring 2 wins, suffering 1 defeat with no draws. And he 5 times fought great heavyweight contender Billy Misk, okay, a worthy Hall of Famer. Dillon fought him 5 times, scoring 1 win with 4 losses and no draws. He also twice lost to the St. Paul Phantom, the great middleweight fighter Mike Gibbons, from 2 fights. Fighting also 4-fight series with Eddie McGaughty. The fight numbers go on and on. I mean, just the number of fights on this slide is crazy already. Considering there's 15 opponents listed, there's way more fights than that on here. Now, against Eddie McGaughty, a former pound-for-pound rated fighter, he scored 1 win, 2 loss and 1 draw. And then he closes out the slide with 3 clean sweeps. The first over the very capable and potential Hall of Famer himself, Jimmy Gardner. Dillon fought him 3 times, winning all 3 fights. He also scored 2 wins over former top 3 contender Charlie Weiner from 2 fights, and then closes out this first slide with 2 wins from 2 fights against young Lowry. So there's Jack Dillon's first slide there. Very busy slide. Let us go on to his second and final slide. Jack Dillon fought another capable fighter, well-travelled fighter in terms of opposition, fought in Frank Mantell. Now, Jack Dillon won all 5 fights against Mantell. He also fought 2 fights against contender Paddy Lavin, scoring 1 win and 1 draw from those 2 fights. And he fought 2 draws against former title challenger Ray Bronson. Next up is Jack Twin Sullivan. Jack Dillon defeated Jack Twin Sullivan in a singular fight. He also, in singular fights, defeated middleweight claimant, I'll say, there you go, middleweight claimant, but never a champion, Hugo Kelly. He also defeated Joe Thomas and defeated the very capable Buck Krause, all in singular fights. Next up is heavyweight contender fireman Jim Flynn, who fought Johnson, who fought Langford, who fought Dempsey, of course. Jack Dillon fought him 5 times, scoring 4 wins with no losses and 1 draw from those 5 fights. He also defeated former heavyweight contender Porky Dan Flynn 3 times from 3 fights, and also 3 times from 3 fights defeated heavyweight contender Gunboat Smith. Good morning, Martin. Oh, a comment appeared and it vanished, buddy. Next up is heavyweight challenger Frank Moran. Okay, Jack Dillon defeated him in a singular fight. He also then lost, okay, to the capable Willie Meehan in a singular fight. Good morning, Martin. Good to see you. Your first comment, mate, came through a bit weird. It vanished. I don't know if you removed it. Wilmington Jack Daly is next. Jack Dillon fought him to a draw, and then he had 4 fights, okay, against Charlie Nashert. Jack Dillon losing all 4. So altogether then, okay, from those fights listed, Dillon has 90 fights listed there. That includes 56 wins, 21 losses and 13 draws. So going on to the first of his stat slides for Jack Dillon, he scored 65 knockouts, 27 knockouts in 3 rounds or less, and 4 knockouts in the first round. Dillon scored 1 KO against champion, 1 KO against a Hall of Famer, 1 KO against a pound-for-pounder, and he scored 1 KO against a rated fighter, albeit the ratings came in after his career. So Jack Dillon, in terms of rounds boxed, he fought a lot of professional rounds, massive career. He fought to a total of 2,022 rounds boxed professionally. He fought 73 title fight rounds, and Dillon fought 391 rounds against champions. He fought 259 rounds against Hall of Famers. And he fought a massive 507 rounds against pound-for-pound fighters. Now, in reduced numbers, okay, he fought 34 rounds against top 10 fighters, 34 rounds against top 3 fighters, and 22 rounds against ring champions. You're not doing a stammer, are you, mate, with those sausages? Right, okay, let's go on to our next slide. This is slide against champions now. Dillon had a massive record against champions comprising 38 fights. He scored 24 wins with 7 losses and 7 draws from those 38 fights. And Jack Dillon beat 6 champions individually. They were George Chipp, Mike Twin Sullivan, Bob Mohar, Bartlin Levinsky, Frank Klaus and Al McCoy. And Jack Dillon scored, I've put down he scored a knockout against a champion. I'll check that afterwards. So anyway, against Hall of Famers, okay, he has 26 fights, including 10 wins, 13 losses, 3 draws. He scored 4 wins over Hall of Famers individually. They were Bartlin Levinsky, Frank Klaus, Leo Hook and Billy Misk, and they're 4 major names from that decade. He scored knockout or stoppage over one Hall of Famer, that was the great Leo Florian Hook. And when we go on to the pound-for-pound category, we can see Dillon's biggest tally. Okay, 52 fights. 52 fights against pound-for-pounders with a record of 29 wins, 16 losses, 7 draws. He beat 9 individual pound-for-pound rated fighters. They were George Chipp, Eddie McGarty, Jimmy Gardner, Mike Twin Sullivan, Bob Mohar, Bartlin Levinsky, Frank Klaus, Leo Hook and Billy Misk. And he scored knockout or stoppage over the same Hall of Famer he'd stopped, Leo Hook. So, on to record against rated opponents. Now, obviously, Dillon pre-rating era, so he has very reduced numbers. He comes in with 4 fights against top 10 fighters, including 2 wins, 2 losses, no draws. He has exactly the same record against top 3 rated fighters, 2 wins, 2 losses, no draws. And he has 2 fights against a former ring champion. Both of them are defeats. So Dillon beat 1 individual rated fighter and scored knockout over 1 individual rated fighter. Now, obviously, had ratings been around, he would have had dozens of fights against rated opponents. So, on to title fight. I feel a bit strange. I've done all those top 1,000 videos and I'm not in the zone. It's my first video. But next few videos I'll get back into the zone. But yeah, I'm not in zone because I've done so many top 1,000 videos and I haven't done a career video for a while. So I've been a bit stuttering on my words, like, right, where am I? So Jack Dillon had 7 title fights. That included 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. He made 5 title defences and scored 1 title fight knockout. Now, obviously, pre-rating era, so he has 0 wins against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters and ring champions in title fights. Dillon scored 4 wins against champions in title fights, 3 wins against Hall of Famers, and 4 wins against pound-for-pounders in title fights. So when we go on to the final slide, okay, titles won. Jack Dillon held the world light heavyweight title. He was also lineal light heavyweight champion of the world and undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world. So there's my first career video. Yes, I've been a bit stuttery. I'll get back in zone. Okay, I've got a number of these ready now, and these are going to come continuously. My graph videos are also going to be slotted in between, and I'm going to chill and relax after pounding out my top 1,000. I'm close to, well, not close, but I've got about a third way to go in rescoring my top 1,000, so that's continuing in background. So plenty of career videos are going to be coming from the period 1890 to 1930. I've got about 320 career videos to do. So it's just a case now of those I've already done. Just sit back and just churn them out now. So there's my latest video, the mighty Jack Dillon, who I will say has received a boost in my new ratings, but I won't give any spoilers. But yeah, a great fighter nonetheless, and one of the great light heavyweight fighters of all time. I'm out for now.